All right, guys. So Tim Walz went and spoke to AFSCME. You know, it's a big union. He's speaking to a room full of union members. And, of course, he is a member of a union. And, man, he goes Inski. He puts a verbal beatdown on both Trump and Vance. And he responds directly to J.D. Vance's smear attempt over his military record. Here we go.
Just to be clear, the Vice President and I, we know exactly who built this country. It was nurses, it was teachers, and it was state and local government employees that built this nation. People in this room built the middle class. And it's not just a saying, it's a fact. When unions are strong, America's strong. Vice President Harris and I have both had the privilege of joining workers on the picket line. And it's why, as governor, I signed one of the biggest packages of pro-worker policies in history into law. In Minnesota, we made it easier for workers to form unions. We strengthened workers' protections. And yes, we banned those damn captive audience meetings for good in Minnesota. Last time I said that at a union meeting, they sued me over it. It was the best thing to get sued over I ever said. We're going to continue to ban those meetings. But we did more than that for families and AFSCME workers that are there every single day. We did things to improve people's lives in a real fundamental way. We guaranteed free breakfast and lunch to every single child in Minnesota.
I love this. He's got, every time he gives a speech, he needs to say this. He needs to remind everybody. We gave kids free breakfast in school, free lunch in school. We did 12 weeks paid family leave and 12 weeks paid sick leave. Because these are things that are so popular, even among Republican voters. They support it, bring it up over and over and over. And that's the starkest contrast you could possibly have with Trump and J.D. Vance. This is the move, man. You keep talking about this, they're going to cruise into the White House, for sure.
That helped a whole lot of school employees, AFSCME members, keep their students engaged and keep them in the classroom learning. Today, Minnesota is one of the best states for workers in the country. I'm surrounded by some that aren't, so the Vice President's vision is to take those worker protections to every state in the union. Every state in the union.
Look, man, you know, some of the articles when Kamala picked Tim Walz said that the reason she picked him is because what he did in Minnesota is, you know, the framework of what she wants to do for the entire country. If that's the case, not only is Kamala going to win in 2024, she'll win in 2028, and she'll win easily. If you deliver on even like 20% of what Tim Walz did in Minnesota, it is a Rappington. I mean, it won't even be close.
I keep saying this. I know you know it, but I think it keeps us focused. We all understand it in here. You've heard me say this. I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit today, but the choir needs to sing. The choir needs to sing. And just so you know who's not in the choir, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they see the world very differently than we do.
Here we go. Here we go.
The only thing those two guys knows about working people is how to work to take advantage of them. That's what they know about it. Every single chance they've gotten, they've waged war on workers. And their ability to collectively bargain to take that away from them. All we're asking for is better wages, better benefits, better lives, and dignity in the work that we do.
By the way, one of the things J.D. Vance is now saying in interviews is, I want to increase the child tax credit to $5,000, which, by the way, that's phenomenal. Here's the problem. They just had a vote in the Senate on extending the child tax credit. 44 Republicans voted against it. And you know who dodged the vote entirely? J.D. Vance. So I don't care about what you say. I don't care. If what you say matches up with your record, then sure. But he says one thing and he does another thing, so I can't fucking take you seriously. The reason why Tim Walz was such a great pick is because, yeah, he talks the talk, but he's also proven that he walks the walk, not only in Minnesota, but also his voting record as a congressperson. So J.D. Vance, when he says, let's call it what it is, that he wants to increase the child tax credit, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. Because you weren't there for the vote that just happened to extend the child tax credit at all. You dodged it completely.
There's a great bill in Congress. Should be the easiest vote you've ever taken. The PRO Act. Make it easier to form a union and bargain. Allow people to have the freedom to make a choice. Allow them to be able to do that. They also oppose the Public Service Freedom to Negotiate Act, which would require states to bargain with their employees. Look, If you're living in a state where you get to do those things, it's one thing. But our family and our neighbors and our fellow Americans are living in states where they don't have that. So when it comes to these so-called right-to-work laws that deprive us of the right to be able to form unions, fund what we need, Trump has said he supports right to work 100%.
Remember, what those laws really are, it's right to work for less. That's what it is. They frame it from the perspective of, oh, this is about workers' choice and workers' freedom. No, it is right to work for less. It's anti-union legislation. You'll get less time off, worse health benefits, lower wages. It's proven in those states workers get treated way more shitty.
I saw our friend Sean Fain at the UAW had a name for that. He called him a SCAB. That's not name calling. It's an observation and fact, just to be clear. So.
Get him. Sean Fain, to be fair, was the one who started this. He said it in the rally the other day. He said, Trump is a scab. And the audience started chanting, Trump's a scab. Trump's a scab. He's a scab. He's a scab. And now they're running with it because it's true. Wait, he's not done yet. He's just getting started.
You know, you can tell a lot about people in their personal lives. He spent a decade stiffing service workers from dishwashers, waiters, and carpenters on his own properties to enrich himself. As president, he cut overtime benefits for millions of workers, and he opposed any effort to raise the minimum wage. That's all you need to know. You don't have to ask twice. We know who they are. A guy who goes to Mar-a-Lago, and this is a direct quote, he sits there and tells his friends, you're rich as hell and we're going to cut your taxes. I believe him when he says that. But he also turns around and tells workers their wages are too high. I keep bringing this up. Who do you know who's asking to cut taxes on billionaires while stiffing working people? I don't know anybody. And I'll tell you what, I think there's a lot of people think that they're on his side or voting for him, that when you put it to them like that, they start thinking things differently. This is where we need to talk to our neighbors. We need to engage. And I'll tell you, his running mate, I don't know if that was a value add to this campaign or not, but he's one of 4 senators, 4, that has never cast a vote on a pro-worker bill in his life. Not once.
He's killing him. He's killing him. I'm telling you, this was the choice right here, man. This was the choice. Kamala picked Tim Walz, and then ever since then, up and up and up and up and up. The polls just keep getting more and more devastating for Republicans. And you want to know why? Because this is the shit that he says when he opens his mouth. This is what he talks about. Guys, you all know this. In 2016, I was going crazy. I was pulling my hair out. I was like, for the love of God, please, 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 you cannot run an entire campaign based on Trump is crass and unfiltered and rude and he tweets mean things and look at what he said to Bette Midler. You can't do that. You have to, at some point, bring up policy. Bring up what they want to do with the country. At this point, you could also just bring up what he did do with the country because he was president for 4 years. We were begging, please run on policy. Point out the record. That's the way to expose him as a fake populist. He's not pro-worker. He's massively anti-worker, and his record shows it. He cut taxes for the wealthy. 83% of the benefits of his tax bill went to the top 1%, and it went to corporations. That bill incentivized outsourcing, even though he pretended like he's anti-outsourcing. We lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump. Bring up this shit. And here's Tim Walz, and he's bringing it all up.
A stop clock's right twice a day. This guy can't get it right once. Not once for workers. And by the way, these guys are even attacking me for my record of service. And I just want to say, I'm proud to have served my country, and I always will be. With my dad's encouragement, a guy who served in the Army during the Korean War, I signed up for the Army National Guard 2 days after my 17th birthday. I served for the next 24 years for the same reason all my brothers and sisters in uniform do. We love this country. Then in 2005, I felt the call of duty again, this time of being service to my country in the halls of Congress. My students inspired me to run for that office, and I was proud to make it to Washington. I was a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee and a champion of our men and women in uniform.
He also opposed the Iraq War, wanted peace and normalization with Iran and Cuba, and fought the deep state warmongers multiple times when they tried to bomb Syria in both 2013 and 2016. But you don't hear any of the fake anti-establishment, supposedly anti-war conservatives singing his praises over that.
I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country. And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. Anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Ooh. So that's the rebuttal. That's the rebuttal to J.D. Vance. Look, J.D.'s been leaning in. Stolen valor, stolen valor. He's been leaning it. You ran away. You were chicken shit. You ran away from your unit when they needed you the most and when they were deployed to Iraq. What's the reality of the situation? He retired 2 months before the unit got called up to go to Iraq. He had been talking about wanting to do a political career for an extended period of time leading up to that. He also knew that the Iraq war was bullshit. He ran on the fact that the Iraq war was bullshit. So what did you want him to do? Shut off his brain and go fight a war that he knew was bogus? That he knew was based on lies? That's what he wanted. And by the way, they say, oh, he implied that he saw combat, and he didn't. That's unacceptable. You know who else did that exact same thing? J.D. Vance. He did it while attacking Tim Walz on this very issue. Because the first clip I watched of J.D. Vance talking about this, I thought, oh shit, so he's saying, J.D. Vance, did see combat, and Tim Walz implied he did, but he didn't see combat. This is unacceptable. Meanwhile, then J.D. Vance has to come out later and clarify, no, I actually never saw combat. So you're doing the exact same thing you're accusing him of doing. Guys, the year is not 2004. They are face planting this bullshit swift boating effort. And by the way, Donald Trump got out of Vietnam by claiming he had bone spurs. He says, it was basically the toughest thing for me was avoiding STDs at these orgies I went to. That was my personal Vietnam. That's what he called it. You really think this attack is going to land? Oh my God, you guys are fucking disgusting and pathetic. And by the way, Tim Walz comes out and says this. And then what happens? J.D. Vance goes on Twitter, attacks him again over the same shit. JD, homie, it ain't going to work, dog. It ain't going to work. So I replied to JD and I said, what brand eyeliner do you use? It'd be a real shame if all of you guys decided to respond to every single JD Vance tweet and ask him what brand eyeliner he used. That would be very mean. That'd be very rude. I would not tell you guys that you should go to every single JD Vance tweet and reply asking him what brand eyeliner he uses. That's not something that's in my character. I would not stoop that low. I would not be that silly. Definitely don't reply to every single tweet and ask him what brand eyeliner he uses.
It's not what they've done that we should be concerned with here today. It's what they're going to do. One of the clear goals of that Project 2025 to-do list is to put the screws to working people, making it harder for us to collectively bargain, allowing employers to drastically cut overtime or even eliminate it. And make no mistake about this. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to eliminate AFSCME and all public sector unions altogether.
That's right. And by the way, in Project 2025, they want to ban the increased overtime pay. They want to get rid of that. Again, these are the things you talk about. He's killing it.
Hell, they're even going after the 40-hour work week. Someone was joking and said, what's next, child labor? Oh yeah, that's in there too, by the way. Reducing the rules around our children, putting them into dangerous jobs again. The folks who came before us spilt blood and treasure and spent their lives working to give us dignity and safety in our workplace so you can simply do a good day's work and go home to your family safely at night.
Man, he knows what he's doing, man. He's really, really fucking good at this. He's really, really good at this. By the way, that point on child labor is such a devastating one because a number of conservative states, a number of the red states, are rolling back child labor protections all the time now. They are signing bills to roll back child labor protections. And that's why you saw the comparison, right? Hey, here's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas. Here she is signing a bill that loosens child labor laws. And you see the kids around her with these stone faces on looking terrified, like, what are we doing here, right? And you compare that with Tim Walz when he signed the bill to give free school breakfast and free school lunch to kids, and they're all ecstatic and happy and hugging him and smiling from ear to ear. This is how you win. You put this up against this up against this, and it's true. That's what they want to do. By the way, did you guys know the House Republicans, one of the things that's on their priorities list, they want to, through Congress, pass a law that says the blue states are not allowed to do free school breakfast and free school lunch for kids. So not only are they against it in the sense that it's like, hey, we're just not going to do free school breakfast and lunch for kids in school in our individual states, they're even more against it than that. They even want to ban the blue states from doing it if they want to do it. Pure evil. Pure fucking evil. The other thing that they're doing, as you all know, is they're rolling back all other kinds of labor protections in the states. They had that, what's called the Death Star law in Texas. Go read about that if you haven't yet. There's these laws on the books that are like, hey, if it's over a certain temperature outside and it's too hot, whether it's Texas or Florida or wherever, there are mandatory water breaks, mandatory time to cool off, and they're rolling that back. They're like, no, we don't think you should have, guaranteed water breaks or guaranteed time to cool off so that you don't overheat. And guess what? Heat deaths among workers are going to skyrocket. This is the comparison, man. This is the comparison. This is the difference. So absolutely disgusting they are. And Tim Walz, go watch the whole speech. The whole speech is absolutely phenomenal. But he's talking about the things that matter. He's talking about the things that matter. And by the way, that's why they're panicking. That's why they're doing the most unhinged attacks you've ever seen in your life. Because they know they can't beat this. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.